Today I'm going to talk to you about my garden. I really like my garden. It's made such a difference to this backyard, which used to be covered in weeds and mint and tan bark. So I'll just do a quick show and then I'll go around each of the different things that I have. Okay. So let's start with the hydroponics kit. So this is my hydroponics planter. Paula and I put this together. It didn't take very long. It's only a few hours, but I love it. As you can see, I have lettuces growing and chives and parsley. And I even have a tomato in the back. There we go, that's my tomato. As you can see, the water's trickling through. Now they say that you can even grow sprouts, like bean sprouts and alfalfa sprouts, on the bottom layers when the water comes down through there, simply by putting paper towel on the lower layer and then laying out the sprout seeds. However, I don't think I'll do that because I have too many birds who like to come down here and eat everything. Okay, so that's my hydroponics planter. Over here I have, it's an Australian native plant. It's a beautiful red colour in the sun. The sun hasn't quite reached it as yet. I've become a fan of geraniums, and as you can see I have some really beautiful ones. In fact, I've turned my whole wall into a geranium wall. I have 28 different varieties, and each of them is totally different and totally beautiful. At the moment I'm growing tomatoes because it's the season for them, and this one's grown rather large. And down here I have silver beet and capsicum and parsley. There's different types of parsley. I have Italian flat leaf, and then I just have the regular curly leaf, which I like. In the back here I have a aniseed plant. It's just beautiful. It's licorice actually, but it tastes like aniseed, and you can just pick a bit off and eat it. It's just beautiful. As you can see, I have capsicum and chilies growing and thyme, and this is my Triffid tomato. I call it that because it's absolutely taken over the garden. And as you can see, it's getting lots of tomatoes on it. There are radishes down there planted underneath the tomato plant, but I don't know how they're going to go because obviously the tomato has taken over the whole part of that garden. So here's more of my beautiful geraniums. Now I've also become a fan of roses. Now the other day I did this and the camera didn't work, and the roses were all out in bloom and beautiful, but unfortunately today I only have a bud. This is Evener's Hope, and it's a beautiful purple with a gorgeous smell. Sorry, that's not Evener's Hope, that's an Angel Face, which is a very fluted, fluttery type rose. This is one of my David Austin roses. This beautiful purple, creamy colour. This one's beautiful orange colour, also David Austin. Probably got the picture I can show you. Okay, so that's what that one looks like. Not the same as seeing the thing in bloom, but that's my Evener's Hope. Just beautiful purple. Okay, this one's still in flower. And this is a David Austin Graham Thomas. At the back here I have a David Austin Crown Princess Margarita, and that's a beautiful, beautiful deep amber colour. Oh. My pansies are still doing very well. They don't really like the heat, so I'm not expecting them to last much longer, but they've done extremely well. I've had them since last winter. When I moved in here, this was overgrown with mint and weeds and banana passion fruit, which grew right round the wall and over the back door. And it took a few weekends of really hard work to get it cleared off. But I'm very pleased with the result. Now, these here are an Australian native. They're sort of like a straw flower, and if you listen, they're very stiff and they feel like straw. They're not open at the moment because the sun hasn't hit them, unfortunately. As soon as it does, these will all open and they'll just be beautiful. These were 2 tiny little plants when I planted them last year, and they've just grown massively. And I have them living side by side with some pinks. I planted them for their scent. The scent is beautiful. Daisies over there, also not open at the moment. I have 2 above ground gardens. I like these. Unfortunately, so do the birds and the slugs. I have strawberries growing at the moment as well. And onions. Some oregano. Sage. And this is an olive plant. And it tastes just like olives. Nice in salads. I love it. We come out here and I just pick fresh herbs and fresh salads every day for lunch, and it's just beautiful. Over there I have chamomile. I've just cut it all back because it got really raggy, so when it comes back we can start making tea with flowers again. And again, all of my absolutely beautiful geraniums. Okay, this is my clock and temperature gauge. Down here I have a black lily. I can't wait till it grows. I bought it in a pot last Mother's Day, and of course it died off, so I planted it in the garden and it died off completely, but it's come back this year, so I can't wait to see the black lilies again. It's more daisies which haven't opened up. I have my ground covers. It was hard to know what to put out here, so I decided to just put some different ground covers just to keep everything looking a little nicer than just the straw. You can see my little pixie there sitting down looking at the flowers. Okay, I do have another pixie which you may not have seen. I have a lot of pixies actually. I do love pixies. Well, I love garden ornaments. But there she is, sitting there in amongst the pinks. Okay. Now on this side I have ground cover. It's called a chocolate blob, and it's covering the ground quite nicely. An assortment of pinks and a pink lavender. which is really just coming up. It died off. Not too sure if it likes it there. I think it might be too rich for it, but we'll leave it there for now. Okay, now this was a marigold, not a marigold. Oh, the name escapes me. Isn't that ridiculous? Anyway, it has a beautiful, beautiful, great big purple flower on it when it comes back. I didn't think they would grow because they were just in a little pot, and I thought the frost would get them, but no, because we get very severe frosts here. And daisies. Chrysanthemum, that's the name. Knew it would come to me eventually. Okay, here's my African daisy. Now, I think my African daisy is beautiful. Very, very unusual flower. And another chrysanthemum there, which is just starting to flower. Don't know if you can see it, so I'm just moving a little bit closer. Here we go. Just got its first flower on it. And there's a few more coming on, which is really nice to know. I have a tropical lily that's coming up. Oriental lily it's called. And my white princess lily is starting to die off. Here's an elderflower. You can make tea with this. It's very, very nice and very good for you. Excuse me. Okay, this is my orange tree. It did have 4 oranges on it and now has 2. The birds got 2 of them. However, I have hopes that they will stay. I did have a net over it. As soon as I took the net off, the birds ate the oranges. And this is my blueberries. As you can see, it's got a bit of fruit on it. It's doing very nicely. And there that looks like it's quite ripe. Okay. This is my apricot tree. It's got a lot of new growth on the top. I have a fig tree. I grow them in containers because I don't have a very big backyard, as you can see, but I do like to have lots of fruit, and there's no reason why they can't be grown quite successfully in containers. So I don't have any figs as yet, but that will probably be next year, because the figs grow in the little joins here. This is my lime. Looking forward to get limes. I make a very nice lime cheesecake, so really looking forward to this limes. This is passion fruit. Kind of died off a bit, I'm not sure why, but it's coming back again. And this is my pink lady apple tree. It's a dwarf apple tree, so it's doing quite nicely in its container. I have more geraniums. And you can see my oyster plant. It's doing beautifully. Just look at that flower. It's got 3 flowers on it. I'm very pleased with it. Now down in there we have a sugar plant. You can see my mushrooms. I love my mushrooms. I think they just add to the garden. This one here is called Blaze. It's a beautiful daisy, which I think is really, really, really attractive. Okay, so now then, moving around, you can see my worm farm. I like worm farms. I think that's great. I think the wormweed is just ideal for the garden. So I cultivate worms. And this is a shed that Paul and I put together. We put it together wrong to start with, but then we sorted it out and fixed it up, and it keeps all my garden equipment in it. Now over here I have a black currant tree, and I had 2 black currants on it, but unfortunately I didn't get to it in time. One was ripe and one wasn't, so I thought I'll just leave it for another day, and when I came out the birds had eaten both of them. I'm very pleased with this tree because it was only a tiny little twig when I brought it home, but it's growing beautifully, and I'm sure next year there'll be lots and lots of lovely black currants on it. Now over there you can see my compost bin. I think it's important to make your own compost and then use up all those scraps that you have, food scraps. And over here I am growing irises. I have a rather large iris bush out the front, and I've taken some cuttings and potted them. Now this area was all tan bark, and I don't like tan bark. It's very dusty and doesn't look very nice. So what I've done is I've put down some soil and some straw, and I've bought some artificial grass which I'm going to lay as soon as I get back from holiday, and I think that'll just finish this area off nicely. Oh, poor old passion fruit. I'm hoping it'll recover. And this is my peach tree, and I got 5 peaches off it this year. They were only little, but they were very tasty. And one of the things I did was eat a couple, and then we dehydrated some just to see how they would work. But they were lovely, and the tree is doing very nicely. It has lots of new growth on it. This is a bit of a disaster. These things just do not work. There's not enough soil to really give enough nutrients to the plants. So it was just an experiment. It was very cheap from Bunnings, but it doesn't work very well. So, as you can see, it's a little garden, but it's productive and it's pretty. So I like it. I come out here and I have my breakfast. I have lunch on beautiful days. Get myself an umbrella so I don't get sunburnt. I have a fountain which encourages birds. Quite often I come out here and birds are swimming in the fountain, having a bath. I have a very cheeky little silver-eye bird that comes when I'm watering the garden, and he plays in the spray. And it's all very, very exciting that he comes so close. There's usually lots of butterflies. There's not as many today. You have a lot of lovely butterflies and bees. Oh, there we go. The sun's moved around a bit now, so as we come back you can see how the straw flowers have opened up to what they were like before. If you listen here carefully, you can hear the bees buzzing around. So, it's a shame that the roses are not out, but I can probably do another one just about my roses for next time. So as I say, it's very nice just to come out here and sit and watch the activity in the garden. I have a lemon tree here, I didn't mention. It has lots of lemons, In fact, that's what it's called. So I'm really looking forward to them coming to a really nice size. And this here is my latest acquisition. I've just repotted it. These are beautiful, stuffed with feta cheese. I made feta cheese the other day, so at lunchtime that's what we'll do. We'll take a couple of these. The red ones are quite hot, so take the green ones and stuff them with feta cheese, and they're just lovely. Small lavender over there. That's a purple lavender. It's as against my pretty pink one that's still coming out. This is chocolate mint. And you can see my Hebe. It's called Pretty in Pink. I think that's the Pretty in Pink. I do have two of them. One's called Mary Antoinette, not Marie, which I keep calling it, but actually Mary. You can see my little trogs, or whatever they are, in the middle there. So there we are. That's my garden.